Hey, Becky, welcome to your spotlights.
Hey, Summer. Good to see you.
I'm so happy to have you here. It's awesome to
Yeah,
see your face again.
totally.
So, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Um, I'm 32 and I have two kids, and I live in California. And right now I'm staying at home with my kids. I'm not at work or anything like that. And yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me. We live in an RV full time. So that's why you see this lovely floral pattern right here. It's all over. Yeah, so that's me right now.
We could do a whole other episode about you living
We
in an
could.
RV.
We
I
really
feel like
could.
we might
It's a
have to.
thing. It's totally a thing. Everybody's like, "What? You do that?" Yes, we do.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe revisit that on another day.
Okay.
But
Okay.
today, let's talk about your past relationship with your body. What was it like before you and I started to work together?
Yeah, totally. So I think my whole life has always been touched by dieting. I don't even remember a time that I wasn't like aware of my body in some uncomfortable sense. And part of that is just because I'm really highly sensory. So before it was connected to anything bad, I was just very aware of myself. And then over time it developed into this watching my parents diet, and my dad took me to Weight Watchers, and it was just like steeped in it. Like that's just what especially my dad did. And I have a body similar to his, and so he was concerned about his body, so it felt like, okay, I should be concerned about my body. And he was apologizing to me for giving me his body and all these things, right? And so then I had started dieting in my preteens, like doing the diet thing. And by the time I was 15, it had just become a full blown eating disorder, bulimia. And that was what I did. I was so uncomfortable and so sure that something was wrong with like the outlines of myself that I couldn't focus on anything else. And I tried everything diet wise. And coming out of my late teens and early 20s, there was a mature part of myself that was like, okay, the eating disorder thing, I don't want to carry with me. But diet culture I still was totally buying into diet culture. So I started my recovery from my eating disorder. And I worked through that probably within 3 or 4 years. But I was still sure that I wasn't okay, like just in myself, my body, the way
Mm-hmm.
it was. It just felt so uncomfortable. That's the best way I can describe it, as like an itch I couldn't scratch. I'm just like, I'm uncomfortable. I need to do something. And that just has persisted. And then having two babies, my body changes, and I'm not I'm 32. So there's the age changes that I'm starting to see a little bit at a time. And so I think before meeting you, it was just this overwhelming sense of I don't have a choice, that I must participate in this, and I'm so exhausted and tired, and I feel like I'm fighting a battle, and the enemy is my body. Like I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm tired of dieting. And but I'm tired of feeling shame all the time. I'm tired of feeling like I can't go out of the house without just being plagued and distracted constantly by my physicality. And I think it was just that just constant sense of pressure and discomfort that was the strongest like experience that I had in the very recent years.
Yeah, wow, that's intense.
Yeah. I,
So, what made you decide to change? Like, what made you decide, okay, like this, done with dieting, that's it. You gotta do something
well,
different.
it was so funny because when I first heard you and you were like, "Yes, I've always been a rebel," I was like, me too. I get that. There's always been a little piece of me that always wants to be like, F you to whatever I'm doing, regardless of whether it's good or bad. Like, I always want to like flip the coin over and see what's there, right?
Yeah.
I just have this drive to be like, hmm. And I had gone to a big conference for a different uh, self development person, And an entire day was spent talking about how you should eat for optimal performance, right?
Mm.
And I came back from that feeling so completely triggered and terrified that, like, if I did not adhere to this way of doing things, like, I was never going to reach optimal performance. But I was like, this regimen, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to eat 70% water-based foods. Like,
Oh.
that doesn't sound fun to me, right? I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm just not going to do it. And I was like, and then I'm also always been interested in coaching. So I was like, all right, I'm going to Google body image coach, because maybe that's a thing. Maybe I can get involved in that. Maybe, I have this history with eating disorder recovery. What does it look like to help other people? And I stumbled across you and, like, your page. And I just felt like for the first time I had seen the idea of, um, of not dieting and of not, changing your body, not just as like, oh, who gives a crap, just whatever, you're just, just the what the fuck diet thing, or what the fuck, that I'd seen that before. This was the first time that I'd seen that, like, couched in like a feminist, um like scientific, really, really intelligent, thought out way. And my brain was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to not diet, like, for a good reason. Like, I want to, because that's what's going to make me, like, passionate about not dieting, right? Because it's like, that's so much of that, like, diet culture has made us passionate about dieting. And I'm like, all right, I need to find something that's going to give me this push, and, like, something about the intellect and the feminist part of saying no and the rebellious part of that, really, like, aligned with just something in my heart. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to start dabbling with this. And then there's also just, like, amount of desperation, right? Like, I think both of us have, like, we get to a point where we're just like, well, I just can't do this anymore. So what else am I going to do? I gotta figure out what it looks like to not do this, So.
Yeah. You don't have a choice, right? I feel like if you
Right.
get to a point where you feel like you don't have a choice,
Yeah.
that's always a really good catalyst.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm eating all the foods anyways, and I'm feeling bad about it. And I'm like, well, I guess I should diet or over exercise, but I don't really want to. And I'm miserable doing that. So yeah, there has to be something else. And I like a good paradigm shift. That's like, I love to be, like, paradigm shifted, man. So, like, when I started feeling like the seeds of that with this, I was like, okay, this feels exciting to me. Like, this feels like something, I don't know, something good. Like, something felt really right about it. So.
Oh, amazing. I got goosebumps when you were talking about all that stuff just then.
Yeah, so good.
How did you want to feel?
I wanted to feel, I think, okay, so there was kind of two pieces, right? There was, like, that diet culture part of myself was like, I just want to feel sexy no matter what. Like, I want to feel like the goddess, like I want to have that feeling that the girls on the hot girls on the workout videos have.
Yeah.
Like, I want to feel that, right? I still want to feel that. I just don't want to have to do all the things she has to do to get there, right? So that was that part of me that was like, okay, I want to feel that feeling, where I'm putting the value on, like, the worth is still in the way that somebody looks. So it's like, okay, I want to feel good about how I look, which is not a bad thing, but I don't know if I'm making that articulation right when it's like, does that make sense?
Yeah, like, it does, and I'm then curious to know, like, how that evolved for you. But
yeah, totally. And then
yeah.
and then the other piece of me was like, I just want to be free from this. Like, I don't want to think about it anymore. Like, I feel like I've been carrying this backpack of body shame for so long, and I'm so tired. Like, I've explained it to people, like, I feel like I'm fighting a battle, like a full-blown emotional, mental battle every day for 15 or 20 years. I'm tired. Like, I want to put this crap down and, like, do other things. I want to be present with my kids. I don't want to not be able to play with my kids at the park because I'm afraid that, like, my butt is big. Like, I don't want to miss life because I don't want to use my body. I don't want to be sitting in the corner of my couch trying to hide myself in my own home when I could be just, like, doing stuff,
Yeah.
So I think it was those two things combined. And that gave me like a vision for how I want to feel.
Yeah, amazing. So good. So
Yeah.
what were some of the key stepping stones that helped you along the way?
Well, I think first of all, this it's so hard for me. I have like a really bad memory. I like don't recall like super particular things, but I think just like really understanding that like I get to choose. Like
Yeah.
I literally get to choose. Like I had felt for so long like this was just prescribed to me. Like you have to do this. You have to worry about your body. You have to. You don't have a choice. Like that had just been like, so it never had dawned on me that I actually have a choice about that. And so I think it was like talking about values or something where I was like, I literally don't have to make this a value. I literally could be like, sorry, I'm using the word literally like a million times, people. Sorry.
Don't apologize. It's okay.
I don't have to do this. Like I can do whatever I want. And so I think talking about values and looking at what my values are, none of them were like dieting. Mm-hmm. None of them were like eating 70% fruits and vegetable. You know, it was other things. So I think that was one key thing. And just like little things that you said in your coaching, you know, things that I'll not forget. Like that time we were talking and I was like, I just don't feel sexy. And you were like, what if you're just not sexy? Like, yes, what if that's just not you? Yeah. Like, what if that's just not you? And I was like, wow, like I don't have to feel this pressure to be sexy or to like be like thin or to be not nerdy or like really like good at everything or all the things that I had felt this pressure like I don't have a choice in. Suddenly I was like, what if that's just not me? And that's fine. You know, like I don't have to be sexy. Like I can still be sexual without being sexy, you know, or I can still be really intelligent without being like the smartest person about everything, right? Or I can still be a cool person and be super nerdy, right? So I think that was one huge moment for me is like who am I? Like who am I actually?
Yeah.
You know, like and all the other things, I can stop being those things or trying to be those things. And that has been huge for me. And then I'm not really sure where in the program this particular part came from, but just trying new stuff that before, like I gotten so habituated to like doing certain behaviors that made me feel like safe. So like for me, it was like sitting in the corner of the couch, like really small, curl your legs up, like literally I was causing myself like back and leg pain because I'm just like always like, I gotta be really tiny.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like, okay, or not being goofy or playful because I'm afraid to look dumb or whatever it is. So like practicing doing things that like I want to do deep inside, but like there's been this like consistent choice to or fear to do those things. So like I'm trying to introduce a lot more playfulness like into my life and my relationships and that kind of stuff has been really helpful for me. And also I'm like everything in the whole program, guys, is helpful. No, but I think one other thing was really feeling emotions because like I've always fancied myself to be very emotionally intelligent, and it's true. I'm very introspective, right? That is like a skill I have naturally is to like to look inside myself and see what's going on in there. But that doesn't mean that I have great emotional competence, especially around some of these issues, right? So I think really, really, I heard loud and clear from that module in the program, like feelings are totally okay. Um, and it's important to like take time to feel the feelings, even if it's like, even if you can't, I also am a perfectionist, which a lot of us have in common who are struggling with this, but like, if I can't perfectly articulate the feeling or like, I can't perfectly resolve the feeling in the moment, I'm like, screw it. I'm not dealing with this right now. I'm doing something else. Right. But just to like take a moment and be like, okay, I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling shame. and even especially with especially with how I'm feeling about my body, right? To like give myself the time to say I feel shame about this. And I also know that it's not my fault and there's nothing wrong with me, but I'm feeling shame and that's okay. And there's
Yeah.
nothing to do about it and there's nothing to run from. Um, and that's been really helpful for me, especially when I'm like looking in the mirror or something and it's like blah, 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 and you to really
Yeah.
just take a moment and do that. So I think those are a couple of the big ones.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know for
Yeah.
like one of the great things about you is sometimes I would just say something and be like, "Oh yeah, okay, like got
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that makes sense.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, no, okay, I
totally.
feel so much better."
Yeah. It's
It's
true.
awesome.
Yeah, I think it's like, man, we don't have people teaching us this stuff when we're like young people. Like,
Yeah.
or I didn't. Maybe some people do, but like I didn't have anybody like I literally had the opposite messages. Like, "Oh, I'm sorry I gave you big thighs." Instead of being like, "There's nothing wrong with your thighs." Oh, okay. If I had heard that when I was a kid, if I look, like I don't know, just a lot of common sense stuff in the program that like I just hadn't heard before. That once it wasn't like some of it's rocket science, right? Or really, really like deep and like you're not gonna just but some of it was just like common sense, like, no, that's not how it is. It's like this. And
Yeah.
for me, that was awesome. And also just like I haven't met anyone else who's in the program, but like I feel like they're friends. Like I feel
Hmm.
like if I needed somebody, they would be there.
And they
You
would
know,
be too. I know they
somebody
would
would
be.
be there.
Yeah.
Somebody would be there. And that's like pretty rare. Like that feels really rare, even in the self development or whatever world. It feels like it's very, very much like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like get it done. You're the one, very isolating even in that way. But I feel like this program was different where it was like, take your time. We got you. Like you're loved. Like you're not alone. And I think I was kind of shocked at first when I found out I was going to be group coaching, and I was like, "Well, I want my own coaching, right? Like I want to I want to get it all myself." But then I realized, like, no, that's the best. Like that probably was huge to just build this sense of like not aloneness in the world and like just compassion for other women, right?
Yeah.
Because I think in our culture we're so hard on each other as women too. So I found that that's carried over into like when I see strangers on the street that are women, I feel a compassion because I have kinship with other strangers through this program, and that was huge too. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
just like
It's pretty amazing.
yeah, just like developing compassion for other people
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
huge, a huge
Mm.
part of it. I don't know.
And
I'm just going off on a tangent now, but
no, 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 but I totally agree with you. And I think that that's a big piece of it. Like it develops that sense of humanity and community together.
it
It's like,
totally
which
does.
then extends beyond just the small group.
Yeah.
It's amongst other people that you see because you just are kind of like, there's something that we probably all have in common here.
Something we all have in common. And that was really awesome.
Yeah. So were there any moments for you like or specific things that you did that you're really proud of or excited about that you can remember?
I mean, yeah, I'm still working through it, and so I don't want to be like, I'm like, yay. But for me, and this, the exercise has been the most difficult part for me to address in all this stuff, right? Because I had I have had decided maybe a year ago not to diet anymore. Um, but still using exercise as a crutch or a way to prove to myself, or, it's your insurance or whatever that you're still in control. But really in this program, deciding like, look, this is like, I'm not going to spend 10 hours of my week exercising. Like, I'm not going to do that. Or maybe more like 15 by the time you count in driving and planning and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I don't have time for that. And so I think, what am I doing differently now? I'm just resting more. And I'm just like, I just don't care. I don't care anymore that much. I'm like, I just don't have any shits to give about this as much anymore. And it's like, it's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. I'm still in like a little bit of like okay, this is a little bit of an uncomfortable stretch for me. Um, but it feels right. And, it's giving me more time to do other things. And I used to have a lot of body pain that I don't have anymore. And even when I started the program, like I had a lot of pain, and things from over exercise. So I feel really proud of that. I couldn't say that I feel like super like have completely worked that through emotionally for myself yet. It's still very much of like a challenge to let go of that and to really surrender and trust, that that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but um, but I'm not running up and down like some stairs at like 9 o'clock at night. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean you were in like that beast mode or nothing for so many
Totally.
years of your life. So
Yeah.
to hear you say that now you're like chilling out and
Yeah.
resting,
Totally.
um and yeah, of course there's still going to be some little bit of the chatter, the discomfort that
Totally.
comes back in, but
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you for doing that. That's
Yeah.
huge, huge.
And I think I mean, the other thing is like I really ask myself what it is that I want now. Like, what do I want today? Like, that's a hugely different than what I used to do. Hugely different. And it just makes my life like congruent, right? Instead of like me like spinning my wheels to like do what I think some other random person out there thinks I should be doing, or collection of people, like, and trying to guess and like it's exhausting. And so now I'm just like, all right, what do I want to do today? Okay, what do I not want to do today? And it makes it so that I can make a decision. I can make decisions for myself versus just feeling like my life is decided for me, because that's how it felt before.
Yeah.
That a lot of decisions in my life were made for me, and I feel like that's really different too. Like, no, I'm going to make some decisions, and and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No, that's so good to hear. So, what are some specific things that you've noticed about how you feel in your body?
I think about my body way less. Way, way, way less.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's huge, because like I think for so many of us, that like obsessive loop, just like that neural pathway of like thinking about your body, it's just like someone's beating you with a stick over your head all the time. Like, that's a horrible feeling. It's horrible. And so I think about it way less, way, way less. And then I feel I was laughing the other day because I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, and then I was like, I don't really have a problem with that. And then I was like, so if I don't have a problem with that, why am I going, ugh? Like, am I doing that on behalf of somebody else? Like, because I think I look fine, And so I was thinking the other day, I was like, I don't have a problem with how I look anymore.
Yeah.
There's some leftover, like, chattering, like you said. And those initial, like, knee jerk responses that I think are just going to take time and continued, like, you know, answering when they
Mm-hmm.
come up. But as far as like when I really think about, like, before I would have been like, I'm really not okay with how I look. I'm not. And now I'm
Yeah.
like, I really am. Like, I really am. Like, and that's cool. Um, I feel much more present in my body, when I'm using it, walking or biking or sitting or whatever. Um, I'm able to enjoy that moment and to be proud of my body for what it can and even what it can't do. And I think the sense of ownership is huge too. Like, okay, I own my body. Like, this is mine. Like, it's mine. I feel like it's mine now.
Yeah.
And that feels like good. And yeah, I don't know how to describe the feeling of ownership, that before it felt like it belonged to everybody but myself. And now it's mine.
Yeah.
So,
That's amazing. That's so good.
yeah.
At the beginning, when I asked you how do you wanted to feel, I know you mentioned like you wanted to be like you wanted to like the way you looked.
Yeah.
So how's that changed? Has that changed for you?
Yeah. Okay. So I think when we first started talking, even in this conversation, I was like, yeah, I wanted to feel sexy. Like I wanted to in
Yeah.
my mind, right? And now I'm like, why would that matter?
Yeah.
Like, why would that actually matter? Unless it's for something external, right? So that's why I think I said earlier in this conversation, I was like, yeah, I had this like diet culture-y, like, I want to feel like all the feelings that that skinny girl must feel in this body, right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
I
yes,
was
yes,
like,
yes, yes, yes.
but no, that's just not even the point. Like, that's like kind of irrelevant to me at this point now. And like, all those feelings are because people are like, when you're skinny, you feel sexy and like free and floaty, and you're going to run across the beach with your hair flowing behind you. And like, men are going to like swoon before you, and you're going to have all this power. And I'm like, that's just not the deal. Like, that's just not the thing. So I guess like I now I want to have respect for my body. I want to have acceptance. I want to have caring and compassion, and I want to have like reality, right? So I want to know like this is what my body looks like for exactly what it is, not what I wish it looked like or what I don't want to change it in my mind in any way. Um but I don't feel the need to be like to have that. I don't know if I'm articulating this well. You
No,
can like
you are.
jump in.
Well,
Okay.
I totally feel you. I feel like other people probably are too, because I think that that's the fantasy that a lot of us have or had.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
And
like
yeah, and I think you're saying exactly what I notice in other people, what I noticed in myself is just that you get to a point where you're actually just not really thinking about your body so much anymore. And you feel just so much more secure in like who you are, and that just the frivolous
totally.
stuff just doesn't matter.
It
Like
just
you're like, I don't
doesn't.
need to be running along a beach feeling
No, like
sexy.
it just
Like I'm
doesn't
good.
matter. I'm fine. Like that sounds like a lot of work. Like I just that sounds really hard. I don't want to do that. Yeah, like it's just not it just isn't the point to me anymore. Like, and so I know that there's this idea, or like a lot of us start out going like, I want to love my body. And like, I believe that like we can love our body, but the sense of like, but not like I love my body because of the way it looks. Like for me,
Yes.
it's like, I love my body because it's mine. And I
Yes.
love my body because it curves here and there, and I love my body because I can sleep in it, and I love my body because it hikes when I feel like it. And like, so there's a love, but it's like more like affection and kindness and relationship love than it is like some kind of weird idolatry where you're like, the love, like where you're like, I love my body because I can use it to impress so many people, right? Like
Yes.
that's just, I don't care. Like I can't, I don't have time for that anymore. So
That's amazing. I love it.
yeah.
That's so good. So, what does it feel like now to just have that backpack off your back?
It feels good. It feels like it feels right. And it feels um um lighter. And it feels like I can access more parts of myself, like the silly playfulness part that before I was like, I'm too serious for that because I'm working on getting this perfect body or whatever. So it feels kind of silly in a way. Like there's like
Mm-hmm.
this kind of like a goofiness that I can have now. And it feels much more restful. Um, and um, it feels like this isn't even a feeling, but it like feels communal or something. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels like connected or something again. Like before I felt really isolated in like the obsession I had with like myself. And I feel like way more connected to other people and like so like I don't know. I feel grateful. Um I feel like passionate. Um and I feel like I feel like I like um I'm just I can't it's so hard to articulate because it's not like yeah, I don't
You're
know.
doing
I just
good.
yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I feel happy. Um it's not like everything's roses and like unicorns and butterflies. Like there's still hard things and hard days and I struggle with other stuff too. But it's like now I'm not struggling with this made up problem, that I don't need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, you seem so much more calm and relaxed.
Yes. Yeah. And I think other people would describe me that way too. Like, yeah, like I have more bandwidth to just be like gracious with myself and other people. Like
Mm.
before it was so stern. It was like this sternness
Mm.
and this like shame and this like judgment and criticism that you're
Mm.
like steeping your brain in that stuff.
It was
And
very
it's like,
frenetic.
yes. And it like, it really, and it seeps out to other people too, man. Like they pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, I feel like calmer and clearer. And I do feel before it was like, oh my gosh, when I feel overwhelmed by shame and guilt and fear and all these feelings about, is my phone dinging by the way for you? Okay. I have like text messages coming in and I just want to make sure it's not bothering everybody. Um, I forgot what I was saying.
I would love to help you pick it back up, but I got cut off from it too.
Okay. Uh, I the just criticism and judgment was such a big part of like my mental patterns. And now I'm like, oh, I know what it was. Now when I have big feelings about my body, because that still happens, like it's still like slaps you. You're like, wait, where did that come from? I
Totally.
feel like I do have the ability to be like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. It's okay. You're fine. Versus before I'd be like, and it would ruin my whole day. I would spend my whole day
Yes.
being like, I either have to feel better or be smaller or something. Like there's, right? It would ruin my day. And now I'm just like, yeah, that was uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
I have other things I'm going to work on today, and,
That's so awesome.
and yeah, so that's cool.
That's so awesome. That's like exactly where I love to see people be is,
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect. It's,
No.
there's still going to be hardships, still going to be bad
Yeah.
days, but it's that ability to just build that resilience to be like, okay,
Totally.
this is going
Like,
to pass. We got
yeah,
this. And be really
totally.
kind with yourself and not take it into, okay, I got to problem solve this. I got to fix this.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it's so easy even to be like, even when you say I'm not going to diet anymore, to still feel like you have to fix something. There's got to be something to fix right now to make it better.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, sometimes you just have to like chill out and be like, yeah, I don't feel so good right now. And that's okay. And so that compassion is huge, I think.
Good. Amazing. So what's your advice to people listening?
I don't have any sage advice.
Okay.
Don't give up. And just know that like you can be fine just the way you are. You really can. I really believe that. I really believe that your body is fine. You are fine. And that anyone who tells you otherwise is just lying. And join Summer's Facebook group to start out with. Honestly, everybody I know, I'm like, join this group. And take the class. Like, I'm not even trying to do a salesy thing, but like, honestly, like take this class. If you are even like, if your brain is twinkling towards it, I just made that phrase up. I like it. I'm going to use it more though. Like,
I'm going to use it too.
Yeah, your brain is twinkling towards something. Like, just take it. What's the worst that can happen? You're probably going to feel better, and you're probably going to meet some really awesome people who are going to be friends forever. And you're probably going to be able to eat whatever you want and do whatever you want, and the world's not going to end. Like, it's not. It's going to be better for you. It's going to be better for you. And yeah, think that's it. I
That's
don't know.
amazing. That's saying it all,
Yeah.
I think. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
that. Is there anything else that you want to add as we close it up here?
No, just well, yeah, that I'm just really grateful to you. I really am. And I'm grateful for um yeah, I really am. You carved out a space for a lot of us that I'm gonna cry. I'm not yeah, that's been a huge gift. Um and yeah, so I'm grateful.
I'm so grateful to you. You have been so fun to work with this whole time. I've loved it. You always just brought like whatever was there. The
Yeah.
messy stuff, the good
Oh, that's
stuff.
how I roll. That's how I roll.
And you were all in.
Yeah.
And you're so fun to work with. Like you're such an awesome person to coach. So it's been amazing to see and hear like the difference between like the first time we talked and then the last kind of few times we talked and just everything that's happened in
It's so
between.
good. It's so good.
It's so awesome. And I
Yeah,
know that you're going to be such an inspiration to other people too. And like I love that you're, you know, putting your voice and message out there
absolutely.
and doing that. And you're awesome. And I know we're gonna be buds.
I know. I know. It just has to be. I feel like we have to have a taco night or something.
I know we do. We totally do. Well, thank you
I know.
so much for doing this and sharing your story. You're
Of course.
so amazing.
Of course.
Rock on.